It's been a while since we've sat down together and just had a casual chit chat. So I figured the end of the year was a great time to do that. I have a few things to just sit down and talk to you about. So I figured I would try some new makeup. I have high-end and drugstore priced here. And I'm going to show you a look that I've been asked about a lot with this new Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette that I cannot fully tilt up and show you because I dropped it. And this stunning shade fell out. Now, it fell out in one piece, but when I picked it up to put it back in, it sort of crumbled. It's a really soft shade. So I was able to sort of press it back in, but I can't tilt it back up or it'll fall out again. I just washed my face. So I'm going to start with skincare. I don't think I've ever done that before in a get ready with me chatty type video, but I figured why not? So I had this Indie Lee Coenzyme Q10 toner. It's one of my favorites. I talk about it all the time. I'm just going to swipe it over my face and my neck very lightly, and my face will turn red because that's just what it does. I've been using this product a long time. It's one of my favorites to use in the morning because it's really soothing and offers some antioxidant protection. I have a feeling I'm going to end up talking and forgetting to share what I'm using, so I'll be sure to show it and have everything sourced and linked for you down below. You know, this year started with us losing our dog, our family dog. He was 14 years old, Luke. He was a Havanese and loved by many of you here that have been with me for a long time. And it was really just a horribly sad time. There was a period of time where I thought I was just never going to stop crying. And you know, we have some good friends who lost their family dog around this time. Actually, it was around Thanksgiving of last year, right around the time Luke was pretty ill. And I remember her saying she would never ever get another dog because she didn't want to have to go through this again. I can't quite figure out what is going on here. What is this red spot? I don't know. After Luke died and people would ask me that question, I said the same thing. Even though I've been a dog person my whole life, I grew up with dogs and we had him in our lives for 14 years. I just couldn't imagine being older than I am now and having to go through that again. So that was my answer, but here we are months later and I'm kind of having that itch again. I've been testing out this OneSkin OS01 face topical supplement. I'm going to talk about this in depth in an upcoming video, but I am really liking it. It's very thin and sinks right in. It's just been my first step after my Essence serum. This OS01 peptide is really, really impressive. So I've been enjoying incorporating it in various ways into my skincare routine with several of their products. So anyway, you know, started getting that itch, but then I started thinking, okay, do we go with a puppy, an older dog? And if we do a puppy, I started having flashbacks of training and all that's involved. I mean, having a puppy is like having an infant at first. Sleepless nights and all of that, which actually would probably be fine since I'm barely sleeping anyway. Thank you, perimenopause, menopause, wherever I am in that journey. So another product I've been testing for a little while now, but haven't talked about yet is the Allies of Skin Multipeptides and Growth Factors Advanced Lifting Serum. I really like the light texture of this. It smells kind of like a swimming pool to me from when I was a kid. I don't know, it has that faint, weird kind of smell. It does go away after I apply it, but it sinks in so nicely and wears really well under makeup. And I really like incorporating growth factors into my skincare routine. So I'm currently testing out products from both Allies of Skin and OneSkin because there's been a lot of interest in both of those brands from you guys. And I want to see if they're worth the money. But I do feel like my skin is starting to get that glass skin look from using both of them. And you know, I'm all about peptides. So as you can see, I don't wait between my skincare steps. I just like to apply them and go. And next I'm using Paula's Choice 25% vitamin C glutathione clinical serum. I love this and it doesn't smell like hot dogs like a lot of vitamin C serums do. It doesn't pill under makeup and it layers really, really well. As you can see, I'm taking all of these products under my eye, onto my eyelids, and even kind of around and over my mouth area because I want all of these benefits there too. And none of them affect the way my under eye cream or corrector or concealer layer or wear during the day either. They also help keep my under eye hydrated better throughout the day so that my corrector and concealer wear better. Next is my eye cream. and moisturizer. These are the two I've been using for a while this year. This is actually in my best skincare of 2024 video because it was a new launch in 2024. So I'm not sure what we're going to end up doing, but I do feel like something's missing, you know? And Luke was such a good dog. He was so easy and so chill. He fit in perfectly with our family. Not that I would compare a new dog to Luke. Of course not. You're never going to get the exact same dog, but there's always that thought of, you know, having to train a new dog, and it's just a lot to think about. Changing the subject slightly, I woke up 2 days ago with sudden decreased hearing loss in this ear for the second time this year. So I have to have an MRI because it's happened again, and they want to make sure that nothing's wrong. I know I'm supposed to use my ring finger here, but you know, I don't always follow all the rules, and I don't use a lot of pressure no matter what finger I'm using. That's all that really matters. And I do take my eye cream up onto my lids. So the first time it happened, I woke up and everything was muffled, and it was just a definite difference. And we are friends with an ENT, and he told me to come in right away. So if this ever happens to you in one or both ears, if you have muffled hearing or sudden ringing or anything with your ears, even if you're sick or stopped up, see a doctor as soon as possible, because the longer you wait, the more of a chance of it becoming permanent becomes. The sooner you catch it, the better. So the first time it happened, he put me on a high-dose steroid plus an antiviral because there was some data out there that not a lot of people had tested because this is such a rare occurrence and many people don't catch it in time, but he thought that based on that data, it would help it get better. And it did. And he said if it ever happened again, which it probably wouldn't, to definitely call him right away. And of course, here we are again. And I wake up one morning and I notice a definite difference in hearing from this ear to this ear. And there's also sort of a distortion with certain sounds. It almost sounds like that teacher in Charlie Brown, but higher pitched. When I hear higher pitched sounds, it's happening concurrently. So I called the office and they fit me in right away. There was quite a long wait. I lost about 5 hours of my day during a week where I was needing to film 4 videos. So that was fun. This is the point where I would normally apply my sunscreen, but because I'm indoors filming 2 videos today, I'm stopping it here and just letting this sit for a little bit before I apply any makeup, just to let it settle. So he did the hearing test again like he did the first time, and he said, I'm hearing much better. There's less hearing loss this time. So he prescribed the high-dose steroid again, which is affecting my sleep. So I'm basically not sleeping at this point. But he didn't think the antiviral was necessary. But because it's happened again in the same ear, even though it's 6 months apart, he wants to rule out that nothing else is going on. So I'm waiting to hear from my insurance about the MRI approval, and I have to have an MRI. He said he doesn't think it's anything serious since they've happened so far apart, but it's still odd that it happened a second time. I paused the camera for a minute just to let all of that absorb and sink in, and now I'm going to do my makeup prep steps and start applying makeup. To prep my lips, I'm using the new Ravi Beauty Silk Lip Treatment Balm Oil, whatever the official name of this. I'll have it linked below. I love this so much. I cannot stop using it. Sometimes I use my City Lips Lip Plumping Gloss or the Clinique Pink Lip Balm in the tube that's so good. But there's something about this I am just loving. And to prep my under eyes, I'm using the Tula 24/7 Power Swipe. This has caffeine and some really nice hydrating ingredients to just give your under eye hydration a boost and to sort of prime the under eye area. This is also in my best skincare of 2024 video. This is great to use on a daily basis in place of that Aquaphor stick for that under eye hack that went viral, because this is actually made for the under eye area and won't give you under eye issues. I love this. And to prep my eyelids and give them a little bit of a slight lift and smooth out some texture and fine lines, and to also prime my eyelids, I'm using City Lips Lid Lifting Treatment. I just pat it all over my lids from my lash line to my brow, and I also pat it slightly over this outer corner because I have some folds that can go below the corner of my eye, and this helps lessen the severity of that. So this is what that looks like. I've talked about this a lot. I'll keep you posted on the ear situation after I find out more, but that happened almost a week after I threw my back out, partially, putting our Christmas tree together. Last year was the first year we have not had a real Christmas tree since we've been married. Over 26 years, mind you. I'm giving the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Primer another shot. I'm actually sort of enjoying it with different different foundations. I didn't really like the Easy Blur foundation so much, but this has been working really well with other foundations. So I've been just retrying it. I actually have a few products to share with you that I've changed my tune about. I'm admitting I'm wrong, basically, and I'm going to be sharing those in a video coming very soon. You know, some I like more than I did when I first tried them, some I don't. This does blur pores and control shine and smooth texture, keep me shine free pretty decently. I just cannot figure out what this red splotch is that showed up new for me today. It's always something, isn't it? So I had brought all 4 pieces of the tree down from our upstairs attic. It's a walk-in attic. I brought them downstairs. They were heavy, but they were manageable, and I brought the base down. It was when I was putting the bottom part of the tree into the base and I was twisting a certain way. My back said, no, you're not. And I just felt it immediately. I had to stop everything. I want to say it was around 10 years ago. I threw my back completely out. I'm talking, I had to be lifted onto the bed. I could not get up off the floor, just bending over and tying my shoes. So it can happen even if you're not doing anything to provoke it. This time I did it to myself and my core is weak. I have not been exercising, so it was probably bound to happen. I'm going to go ahead and apply my corrector, my Bobbi Brown corrector in Bisque. This one that I have up here only has this much left, but don't worry, I do have a backup. So I was able to get to the bed and lay down with an ice pack on my back. I was in tears. I have this fascia blaster thing, if you know what that is, but it's got these claws on it that can go way deeper than, say, a foam roller. And that's what I used way back when I was fully laid up, back when my doctor told me it could take 2 to 4 weeks to recover, and I just didn't have that kind of time. I was working a corporate job where I traveled at the time, and there was just no way. I didn't have 2 to 4 weeks. I don't have 2 to 4 weeks now. So I used that, and I remember icing it and taking anti-inflammatories and muscle relaxers, and I was better in 2 days. This is where I give you a small disclaimer that I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. I don't know what will work or won't work for you. I just know what's helped me. So when this new instance occurred, I got an ice pack. I used a fascia blaster over that area, not too hard, just enough. And I got out my red light therapy shoulder vest and I put that on the area too. I took anti-inflammatories, I took muscle relaxers, and I was pretty diligent about icing frequently. And I was again better in about 3 days. But it derailed my Christmas decorating for several days. I was behind on shopping, creating content, decorating. I feel like this whole season has just been a complete chaotic mess. And I feel like I'm not the only one that has said that. I don't know what's going on this year. I honestly have no idea how I never tried the Bobbi Brown Stick Foundation, but it is one of the foundations I have here for a foundation roundup, and I've already tested it on my bare skin, so I wanted to try it over this foundation stick. Even though it's very creamy, you can feel it sort of sticking down to your skin. I'm in N042 Beige. This is the new BK Beauty 115 brush from the new set. I've really been enjoying those brushes. I just like to pounce this into my skin. I really love this brush. I like the small size because I have a small face. This brush is the middle sibling of the original 101 and the 109 that I love so much for cream blush. It's just that perfect in-between size. This is a little bit big for me sometimes, and I've really been liking this. It's a great combination, texture and softness wise, of a brush and a sponge when you pounce it into your skin. Sometimes I don't like using foundation brushes because they can be streaky, and I do not find that to be the case with this. Okay, here's the reality of being an almost 50 YouTuber. Most of us wear readers to see up close. I have to turn the light on this makeup mirror, this magnified 5 times makeup mirror, to really be able to see what's going on when I'm applying foundation and concealer, to see up close, to make sure nothing's balling up, nothing's accentuating pores and texture. So I just did that and I feel like it looks good, but I think I might like it better concealer by itself. I mean, I'll see as it wears throughout the day. But just know, basically, every time I apply foundation or concealer here on camera, there's a point where you may not see it, but I am leaning in and looking in a well-lit 5 times magnified mirror to see what's going on with the blend, scrutinizing it so that I can really tell you exactly what it looks like to me, way closer than you would ever see it. This is what we got. I'm going to do the other side and I'll be right back. I'm going to have a full review on this. Don't worry. Again, I don't know why I haven't tried it, but I think it looks nice, natural, flattering, smoothing, all the good things. And I have 3 concealers here that I have yet to try. I have the Bobbi Brown Skin Full Cover Concealer, and I have 2 here from Moira. I placed a decently sized Moira order because I've never tried any of their products, and I have the Lavish Creamy Concealer and the Mega Concealer that is waterproof and full coverage. I kind of want to go in with this one, but I'm a little bit nervous because however my makeup ends up is how I have to film another video, because this is a 2 video filming day. It looks a little bit light, but you know, we may just have a very brightened look. But wait, before I apply the concealer, I want to go ahead and apply this Moira Soft Blush Balm, which is shaped just like Merit blushes. This is shade 12, Talk to Me. Now, one thing about the Merit website is that they have no descriptions and the shade swatches are not very good. I want to say I got 125 in the 2 foundations I ordered and the 2 concealers, and one of the foundations is so ghostly white, I'm going to have to mix it with some kind of liquid bronzing drop to use it, because otherwise I will look like Edward Cullen. I mean, it is so light. Whereas the other one that's the same shade looks like my skin tone. It worked out pretty well. So this feels creamy and a little bit oily and slippy. I'm a little bit hesitant to swipe this directly onto my cheek because I'm scared it's gonna take off some of my foundation, but I'm going to take it for the team. I can always replace it. Okay, so let's just swipe some on here and see what happens. I'm nervous. This always makes me nervous. It blends out very easily. I'm not mad at it. It hasn't taken off my foundation like I thought it would. I have a lot of sheen on my face being reflected back at you from my lights. It happens. It will be toned down once we set everything. So I can't tell if that is just uneven or if that's from the lights reflecting. But wait, I have another blush that I haven't tried yet. This is the YSL Liquid Blush in number 44. I resisted for the longest time and ended up caving with the Sephora sale, the recent Sephora sale. So this is that shade, and I think I can easily pop this on my other cheek and have it be pretty undetectable once my makeup is done, and at least even out the shades for filming my next video to where you won't be able to tell. That was the sloppiest swatch I've ever done, but I think you get the gist. I think this is going to be really pretty. Okay, I'm cleaning my brush off so that I can go in fresh, and I'm dipping it into that YSL, and we'll just dot it on. I always feel like blush never looks as good on camera on this side of my face. I've lost a little bit more facial fat on this side of my face. My cheek is a little more deflated, so I just feel like blushes never look quite as good. Highlighter never looks as good over here. That facial asymmetry, it always gets you, you know, but that blended out really easily, and I feel like it sets down a little bit more. I mean, the formulas are completely different, but they don't look vastly different from one another. We'll see after powder. I mean, I can neaten them up later. I don't think that application was perfect, but you know, really just testing out products. Just from wiping them off from the back of my hand, I can tell the YSL is going to last a lot longer than the Moira, which goes along with the formulations of these blushes. Okay, so let's try this Mega Concealer from Moira. I'm in shade 125. Just a reminder, I am going to blend this out with the warmth of my fingers. I'm just going to apply this to one side to start, just in case it is a disaster for the dryness and texture under my eyes. I can wipe it off and start over under just one eye versus 2. I think it's going to be fairly brightening, but not overly so. I think we're going to be okay here. It's blending out nicely. It's not sticking down too quickly and being hard to work with. Going into my mirror. So this looks dry right away. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but in my mirror, close up, 5 times magnified, I see texture from the concealer and dryness that is sitting on top of my skin. So every now and then a second layer will help blend that in. So I'm going to see if that works. And if it doesn't, I am starting over with a different concealer. I think a second layer definitely helps with that. I think it might have been because some of my darkness was peeking through and it just needed more coverage. The coverage level is pretty nice. What's going to be interesting is to see what it looks like set. I will be testing this without corrector underneath it. I wanted to wear corrector today since I am filming another video. I just didn't want to have any darkness peeking through to make me look tired in that video, you know? So I'm just going to go with this and hope that it sets down okay and doesn't end up looking dry and crepey at that point. I always take it up at this corner to give my eye a little bit of a lift, which I need, especially as I get a little older. I can already tell you with blending this eye out, this is not going to be a concealer I'm going to reach for because it's just too drying. I'm actually going to put a dab of my Tower 28 right at my darkest points just to give a little bit of creaminess and hydration before I set this down with powder, because when I set it, it's going to look even drier and I'm already starting to crease under my lash line a little bit, and those creases are not going to look flattering with this concealer. Yet it's not quite disastrous enough to where I feel like I need to completely start over with my under eyes. And I also just don't want to take the time either. I just kind of want to move on. I will test it without corrector underneath it just to let you know, because that could be the issue. You never know. I mean, wow, that looks so much better. Huge improvement. I know my blush isn't looking the best after applying the concealer. I'm going to deal with it after I set my face. And some of you may remember, I did not like this Kosas Cloud Set powder the first time I tried it. This is clearly not a new product. I have the shade Airy. So this is another one that I'm giving a second chance to. I saw this under eye hack on TikTok a little while back and sort of ignored it. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. Of course, it was on someone younger, so I decided to test it out for myself, and it's actually working pretty well. So you just take a layer of Cloud Set after you press out any creasing from your concealer under your eyes, of course, and pat it under your eyes. I like to first do it with a brush so I don't over apply, and then I press it in with a puff or a damp sponge, whatever I have handy. Sometimes I press in a tad bit more with that sponge or puff on my super crease prone areas right under my lash line and my crow's feet area. And then you do that same thing under your eyes with Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder, which has never worked for me under my eyes because it's too drying and my under eyes are very dry and textured. But this is my favorite face setting powder because I get some shine. But it actually works pretty well under my eyes. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to work today since that concealer that I used is pretty drying. I first tried this hack out just to see if it would work for dry, textured under eyes, more mature under eyes, thinking it wouldn't, but I was really surprised that it actually did, and it didn't make me a dry, crepey mess as the day went on. Now, today will probably prove me wrong, but I mean, that doesn't look half bad, and it really locks things in place. My Huda Beauty powder shade is Cupcake, by the way. I'm just setting my face as I normally do, which looks crazy, but it actually ends up very, very natural and skin-like. You just have to trust the process here. And since this isn't a new process or new products, I'm gonna get a little chatty again. So I think there are quite a few of us here on YouTube that are sort of struggling with what to put out, what type of content to create that you guys want to watch, because YouTube just is not showing our videos to people the same way. And when we do make certain videos that you normally click on, it's showing us behind the scenes that our regular viewers are not clicking on that content the same way they used to. So for instance, I might get tons of comments saying, you know, please do this type of tutorial. And then I do that type of tutorial and it gets half the views of my regular videos. And then my analytics tell me that my regular viewers are choosing to click on that video less. So that tells me that that's not the kind of content that I need to be making. But then I keep getting messages saying, you know, we miss your tutorials. We miss this type of content. But then when I make it, they don't get the views. And as someone who has a very analytical type A, but also creative brain, it's hard to find a balance of how to share those researchy type topics that I truly think you'd be interested in, but that you would actually click on and realize you'd be interested in, along with the fun, creative things you enjoy. Because these days, it doesn't seem like people are even clicking and watching those topics, not just here, but on a lot of people's channels. I'm setting that eyelid lifting treatment primer step that I did earlier with a good amount of powder too, because I want my eyeshadow to glide on very easily. And I'm going to do that matte everyday look that's very wearable that you can top with one of those really pretty topper shades and make it look really special. So you want to be sure that your matte shadows just glide on like they should. I just know myself and some other creators that I'm friends with like talking about a range of things that we think you would enjoy hearing about. And it's just natural if you've been on the platform for a long time to want to share more about yourself or to talk about other things. I'm not saying I'm going to change my content at all, but you know, I enjoy talking about music and movies and TV and Gen X retro 80s, 90s types of things. And I've also learned so much about perimenopause and menopause and that journey. And the majority of my demographic, whether you know it or not, is in that phase of your life. If you're over 35, hello, which if I had known then what I know now, so many things make sense, but I didn't think perimenopause was a thing when I was 35, 36, 37. And those are things that I would love to chat with you about, to really talk about, because so much new information has come out to debunk the bad data that deprived our moms and that generation of good treatment therapy that a lot of us still believe, unfortunately, which that's a topic for another video, I guess. But does that even fit on this platform? Do I need a separate channel for that? Would you watch videos about that type of thing? I just know I've had a lot of struggles, insomnia, brain fog, frozen shoulder, so many things that people didn't even attribute to perimenopause, menopause. But the list of symptoms is so incredibly long, and it boils down to perimenopause. I'm realizing how all over the place this video is and how long it may end up being, so I'm going to stop the perimenopause, menopause talk there. But seriously, if you're watching this video, please comment. Let me know. What are your thoughts? Should a beauty channel just stick to beauty? Would you watch off-topic videos or maybe just chatty videos like this every now and then that just kind of delve off? Or like a fun get ready with me video where we talk about a movie of the day? I don't know. I'm just out here trying to figure things out. But that goes back to you guys telling me what you want to watch, but then when I make that content, it doesn't get the views, which again is not a problem with just my channel. It's all channels that experience that, which is a big frustration. But I also know that you're frustrated because you're not seeing videos from creators that you really enjoy by YouTube anymore, even if you get notifications or if you're supposed to get notifications. And I remember saying in several videos years back that YouTube just does not send notifications the same way that they used to. So the best thing that you can do, instead of staying on your home page right when you log into YouTube, is automatically go straight to your subscriptions, and you will see every new video from everyone you're subscribed to since the last time you logged in and were on that subscription page. That's the only way you're going to see all the new videos from the channels you're subscribed to, the most recent videos in the order they've been uploaded. So every time I log into YouTube, I go straight to my subscriptions tab. I think on desktop it's over on the left, and on mobile it's down at the bottom. But that's the only way I can be in control of my own YouTube now, because if you're not watching channels you're subscribed to on your own, YouTube's going to stop showing them to you. And sometimes they even randomly unsubscribe you from channels. I was really happy to see Angie Hot and Flashy suggest this as well in one of her recent videos, because it's the only way you can be in control of your own YouTube experience at this point. I was reordering one of my favorite mascaras on Yes Style recently and came across this Judy Doll face palette that has 2 soft contours, a matte highlighting powder, and a really pretty champagne highlighter. So I'm just going to dip into this to see how these soft contour powders work and hold up. Sometimes when I'm on camera, the asymmetry from my deviated septum is amplified, so I like to do this sometimes. Sometimes I don't notice it, but sometimes it really bothers me, and I know I should probably get it surgically fixed, but that surgery really terrifies me. So I'm using this light shade, and it is really soft and not so obvious. It's blending itself out, the gray undertone is just right. I'm using a Sigma E49 eyeshadow brush and it's just working really nicely. So yeah, I like that. And I'm applying that deeper shade with the BK Beauty 113. This is a very inexpensive palette. It's blending out nicely. I do need to soften some lines, but so far so good. I'm gonna apply a little bit more of this YSL over powder just to see how it applies and dries down and to see if it lifts. I know I probably should have applied the Moira on this side, but I want everything to look even for the next video that I film, and I can test the Moira fully on another day. This is beautiful, and I like that it fully dries down yet still looks really natural and has a glow to it. I definitely see why everyone was raving about this blush, and being the blush lover that I am, I'm a bit mad at myself for waiting this long to try it. I know what my face does, and I know once this makeup look is complete and I'm dressed for my next video, I'm gonna look a little pale if I don't add some warmth. So I'm gonna apply just a little bit of my beloved Fenty Sunstalker bronzer in Private Island. This is my Hourglass Veil double-ended brush that I use so much. This bronzer is just so easy. It adds a nice neutral warmth and never applies splotchy. It's just no fail. It's easy to take down the neck too. I know this is a bronzer I'm going to end up repurchasing. I kind of want to try it maybe in a different shade, but I mean, that wasn't too much. It was just enough. Okay, now let's get to the good stuff with the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes Moonlight palette. I'm going to try and show you this without tilting it too far so this shadow doesn't fall out. I am so shocked at how much I am loving this, since it's a cool tone palette, because you know I usually gravitate towards warm and warm neutral toned palettes. So I'm taking this Rephr 02, it's kind of a flat soft brush, and dipping it into this shade here. And with all of these, you want to tap the excess off before you go in. I have no issues with fallout as long as I do that. When I first started with this palette, I did it before foundation because I thought the shimmers were going to give me a lot of fallout. As long as I tap my brush off with the mattes and shimmers, I have no issues with fallout. So as I've gotten older and my eyes have become more downturned, I just find that starting with my lower lash line, just a neutral shade, not only helps them look a little bit bigger, because you know our eyes do start to look a little bit smaller as we get older. It just helps open them up, and I continue that lower lash line angle up towards my brow very softly. And doing that first helps create a perimeter that the shadow won't go below and drag my eye down. It just keeps that eye lift. I don't recall the exact brushes I used before, so I'm just going in with this A502 BK Beauty brush, and I'm now taking this shade. It has a little bit more warmth, starting at the outside, because where you place your brush first is where you get the most pigment. So as I'm doing this, I'm making sure to look straight in the mirror, and I'm keeping my brow as relaxed as possible. Now, if you have hooded eyes or deep set eyes, this is very important, because the crease of your eye socket where shadow is typically placed, is going to be hidden. So you don't want to place your eyeshadow crease shade in that spot, because the second you open your eye, it's going to be just this expanse of white with nothing on it. So keep your brow relaxed, look straight forward, and then place your shadow where you want that shadow to be. You're giving the illusion that your crease is sort of above your crease. So the two angles I'm placing the shadow are up towards my brow and straight across, basically, and it's just diffusing so beautifully and nicely. And now, using either a flat or an angled eyeliner brush, this is just Sigma's slanted eyeliner brush, but a lot of brands make these, and this is the Sigma E15. I dipped my brush into both the black and the blue matte shades, tapped off the excess, and then wiggled that between my lashes to tight line. This is not on the fleshy part below my lashes. This is just making my lash line look a little bit thicker. You do not have to be neat here, but this is going to fill in those gaps between your lashes and make your lashes look a little bit thicker. It's also very, very quick to do. So if you used an angled brush, you can take that same brush, but if you didn't, take your angled brush in those same two shadows, tap off the excess, and make a tiny, tiny little flick to extend your lower lash line. Well, there goes part of that shadow. I just tilted my palette a little bit too much. Okay, I was still talking and trying to guide you, and I didn't like what I was saying, so I'm just voicing it over. So you're making a tiny little mark just so you don't go down below it when you start to build up the outer corner of your eye with those same two shades. You just want to dab that same shadow along the outer part of your eye just to build up the lift a little bit. You can go small, you can go big, but we're gonna smudge this and blend it out with a pencil brush dipped in this blue shade. Now this is clean. I've swiped it in my Sigma Switch to clean it off. It just has a little bit of a stain from the last time I used it. So I dipped it in that blue shade and I'm tapping off the excess and I'm smudging it very, very lightly in almost an upward motion down into that lash line and sort of swirling it. And what it's doing is it's picking up that pigment we placed earlier and smudging it out, but mixing it with the blue we just placed on the brush. And it's creating this really pretty smoky effect that's super easy. This sort of gradient. If you want, you can add a bit more blue and swirl it a bit more just to have a bit more color. But you can see I'm just following that angle and swirling outwards and upwards. And as I swirl and smudge, it just creates this beautiful smoky gradient effect that you can keep subtle or make as dramatic as you want. I also swept a tiny bit onto the outer lower third of my eye. Did I take it all the way in? I can't remember, but I do remember softening it with this ivory shade here. Even though it's not a lot, for some reason, my lower lash line with darker shades can look overwhelming. I don't know why that is, but it just can. I'm taking that same ivory shade on that BK Beauty 502 brush and sweeping it lightly across my lid. And if you find you need more depth, you can add more of that taupey shade that we did earlier. And I'm taking that same BK Beauty 502 brush, this is getting a lot of use, into this and this shade and tapping off the excess and also adding that very lightly to that gradient. We don't want to totally smudge it out. This is optional, I guess. I just felt like it gave it a little bit of something. Now, if you feel like you lost some of that depth at your lash line, you can dip back into the black or the black and the blue with your dense flat liner brush and just press it back in. It can help intensify that gradient effect. How many times have I said gradient? Even before curling my lashes and mascara, you could see what a lift this subtle technique has on my eyes and how much bigger this eye looks than this eye. So I'm going to even this out and curl my lashes and apply mascara and come back and finish chatting and finish out this look. I'm applying the new, I think this is new, Ciate Triple Shot XXL mascara over that Judy Doll Curling Iron mascara that I swear by for holding my curl, reaching every lash. I have been loving this for dramatic length and volume. Hopefully it will apply today on camera the way it's been doing for me off camera. I've worn this in some videos and I've been asked if I've been wearing false lashes. It's not quite that dramatic, but it's the next best thing for my wimpy lashes. And of course I got it on my brow bone and have to get that off. I'm gonna let this settle in, but I think you can see a difference between these lashes and these, and it doesn't flake or smudge. I don't think I curled this side quite enough, so I might have to hit it again, which I hate doing, but sometimes it's necessary. I don't like a clumpy look, so I always comb through my lashes pretty much with every mascara before they're fully dry, so it doesn't pull out my lashes. That's just one coat. It gets even more dramatic without flaking or smudging if I add another coat or two. It's pretty impressive for someone that has invisible lashes otherwise. So what I did the other day to add some pizzazz to this eye look was simply dab this white shade over my lid that doesn't have the navy part over it. I just dabbed it on with my finger and pressed it in so it stayed, and it did stay, and it just transforms this look beautifully. So let's add some lips. I'm going to take the Say lip liner in Flirt since it's a nice pretty neutral to line and lightly fill in my lips. It takes very little pressure and is a nice creamy formula, and I think that's going to work well with this Bobbi Brown lip that I have not tried before. The shade is Cezanne Nude. This is not what I'm looking for with this look. I'm gonna find something else. Okay, so the base of the lip liner is still there, and I think I'm just going back to my trusty JK Magic from Charlotte Tilbury. It's creamy and lighter, which is what this eye look needs. And let's see. This is why I hate clipping my bangs back. because they end up wild when I let them down. I usually have to take some heat to them, sometimes re-wet them and completely start over. It's a little flat, but we can manage. I think you get the gist of what's going on. I'm going to have full reviews of the products that I used in the near future, and I really love this eye look. I know there's another more dramatic eye look with this palette that I probably need to do too. I'm just not sure the type of video that you guys will enjoy. Would you like a smoky eye look, a get ready with me, or a video dedicated to just that palette? Let me know what you think in the comments. I enjoyed this chatty get ready with me kind of mishmash type of video, and I hope you did too. Oh, by the way, before I check out of here, I wanted to remind you my Dean Davidson 15% off site-wide code ends on December 31st, which is right around the corner. And it's also good on their sale items. I was just reminded because I remembered I'm wearing Dean Davidson, which I do frequently. But if you're wanting to take advantage of that, I just wanted to shoot you a quick reminder that link and code are down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.